a strong resume. So like obviously, if you have a great content in your resume, you can direct the flow of your interview. Because if there is not any significant in your resume to discuss, the interviewer may start to ask questions about on his interest, not of yours. So if there are some substantial projects or experiences that you have, achievements you have, then you can direct the flow of the interview around your interest, about around the things you have explored and in your expertise. So that way the like you can drive your interview. So having a strong CV like gives you that great edge again in the interview, like from the very beginning. Also for the on-campus internships, many companies do resume shortlisting. So if you have a good resume with great keywords, we will discuss what are those keywords in different sections as we move on. But if you have good points in every section, then it is high chance that your resume will be shortlisted for coding rounds and interviews. As for the off campus, in off campus we will discuss, you generally need to show your resume to some senior or some HR. So they will judge your credibility or whether they should refer you or not on the basis of your resume. So resume is the most critical part for anyone to get a great opportunity. So with that, over to Siddharth. He will explain you everything about resume. He himself have got internship during intern fair in first year. He have done many research internships in second year, and also he have grabbed one of the best on-campus internships and also received a PPO. So he's very well suited for the role. So yeah, over to Siddharth.
All right. Thank you for that amazing intro, Pranshu. All right. So I'll just get started with this. Let me tell you how the flow of what I'll be speaking about will be. So in every section, I sort of give a bunch of points in the slides, but we're not really going to be looking at the slides. I'll be moving on to my resume during the intern season. So you guys are able to better relate to what kind of stuff I'm talking to. So the points in the slides are mostly for your reference in the future, and everything right now will be I'll be speaking with in reference to my resume, right? So let's get started. So straightforward, the first thing is, what do you put in your resume, right? So these are sort of the most obvious things that you'd rather want to have in your resume as different sections. And maybe there could be some additional sections depending on your extreme interest in certain things, such as, let's say, competitive programming or machine learning, etc., right? So that is a separate thing that you can add to this basic list, right? Moving on to the header, right? So this is sort of my resume at the end of second year, right? So if you look at this, so the first thing in the header is you have your name, roll number, etc. So the first thing, okay, yeah, wait, I should have clarified this. So we broken down the resume part into two parts. So this first section is the on-campus section. The next section will be the off-campus section. So in the on-campus section, you are expected to use the ITG template. So although we have not attached it in the slides, we'll add it to the email. You can find it on Overleaf, right? So this is a pretty standard template, and everybody in your entire year will be using this template. So this comes pretty standard with a bunch of stuff like name, roll number, etc. So just put in your basic information and ensure that the links are clickable, right? So that is a nice thing that you can add. So you can see my links are clickable. And you can also add if you have a minor. So I had a minor in robotics and AI, so I added that. So the next thing after the header is the education. So here basically just put in your major. If you have a minor, this is completely optional to put in your minor CPI. So if you feel like you want to, you can go ahead and put it. It's up to you. And then you have 10th and 12th, right? So that's pretty standard. And that is basically the education section. Now moving on to the major part of our resume, where we actually talk about yourself, right? So let's move on to the experience section. So in my experience section and in a general experience section, there can be two types of projects. One is a research intern, and one is a industrial intern, right? So I had both rather. So in this way, I can actually show you. So usually the bold point signifies what role you had there, and the point in italics below will talk about what kind of people you worked with or where you worked with, basically, right? And one other thing that I want to add is just stay consistent with the dates you're writing. So if I'm writing SCP dot, basically 3 letters and a dot, I want to stay consistent with that across my entire resume. So you'll see that I'm not writing random stuff like July or something. I stayed consistent. So basically, it looks sort of neat on your resume. So uh, just what kind of stuff should you have in your experience, right? So first off, you need to write about what work you did and mention the tech stack. So look at this. I've written here. I've written what kind of tech I've worked with, what kind of models I've worked with, and the tech stack I worked with. Right. So that should be pretty obvious to the person viewing the resume. And then it's very important that you write results, like what kind of scores were you able to achieve, because in the end, if there's no result, really, what's the point of you doing any internship, right? So bold those important stuff out so that it actually just strikes a person as soon as they're looking at it. And then uh, you should only bold important stuff and not just everything, so that actually it has a value rather than half your resume being bold, right? And then one other point that I just want to add is, if you notice, most of my lines are stretching to almost the end of the page. So that's an important thing that you generally follow in a resume, that you don't want to randomly use up lines, because in the end, imagine that your resume is sort of your entire profile, right? You have certain amount of limited area. Usually you'd want to have a one-page resume, because to be honest, an average or most even good secondarites do not have enough content to put in for more than one page. So if you have a one-page resume, you have a limited area on your page, right? So now you need to be able to maximize the usage of that area. And one very simple way to avoid wastage of area is to write very efficiently. So most of my points I have rewritten several times to ensure that they actually just end up fitting in the page, and they just don't go to the next line, or like 2 3 words are not going on to the next line, or I'm actually able to write sentences that actually go on to the end, right? Maybe merge 2 points that I'd initially written, etc., etc., right? So, and one thing is, always write whatever you've done in a positive sense, maybe even showing off to some extent. Do not lie, right? So because why I'm saying you need to show off a little bit is because if you're going to be humble, not everyone else is, and in the end your resume is going to be compared against a bunch of other people. So if someone else is showing off much more than you are and you're very humble in your writing, then obviously if a random person who does not know both of you is looking at it, he might not be as impressed with your resume as he could be. So show off a little bit, don't lie, because uh, lying can easily be caught in any interview, right? So you don't want to dig yourself into a hole. Okay, so that's one thing. All right, so that is sort of what I had for experiences. Moving on to the next thing, which these are all the points that I actually covered, and then projects, right? So usually any good resume should have uh, like if you add up your experiences and projects, it should come to at least 3, max 5 if you really want to push it, right? But see, since I actually had a big experience section, all my points in the project section are only 2 points, right? So you're going to have to sort of evaluate based on what your strengths are. If you feel that, if you look at my resume overall, you'll see that a majority section of my resume is mostly just experience and projects, right? So that's because I felt that that was my strongest point in my resume. So I sort of gave the most amount of area to that section, those sections of my resume. So if you feel that maybe your achievements are your most important part, maybe you can make your achievement section come up even above the project section, right? Maybe whatever you're most confident of should come as high up as possible and should be as big as possible. But usually the general order of preference is experience, projects, and then technical skills, achievements, etc. One other small point I wanted to add is that any experience is much more valuable than any project, because clearly an experience is something that you've actually done under someone reliable and they can actually vouch for you, whereas a project can just be something personal and there's no actual quality control or actual check of whether you've done anything that you claim to have done, right? They can just question you on the stuff, but to be honest, I would be much more convinced by an experience if I was interviewing you than a project, right? So try to, if you can, get a project in. And this second project of mine was actually done during intern fair. Okay. Experience, right? Sorry. Moving on to the projects. So again, usually the what people usually have is I would say work on maybe one very good project, and you can have two average projects. How I would define a very good project would be if you're able to talk about that project for 10 minutes without like having to make up stuff or like think too much or over explain anything. That means you have a very good project on hand. So I was participating in the Inter IIT and we had a winning submission. So obviously that gave me a pretty good project, right? So I would say make your own personal projects as well, but try to have some projects that are, let's say, at a hackathon or something where you can actually, if you have actually won something, then that adds extra credibility to your project. So one very simple idea with a project would be to create something that has that is solving some well-known problem. So you don't have to find some new problem and make a startup out of it. It's okay if one or two projects of yours are solving a problem that is already solved. Like a lot of people have seen, make a site for searching movies or make a social media site, etc., etc. You can do something like that, but I would hope that that is not your main project unless you've done something extraordinary in that project, such as added functionalities that are actually hard and you can actually speak about it. Like I know of someone in my class who actually made his own Google Docs. So that is something that I would say is a very fine project. So if you've done something like that, that's cool. But try to have something different for your main project. The other projects can actually be sort of average. You can actually, I would actually recommend you to sit with other people and make group projects. So that actually reduces your load and you can actually work on a bigger project. And now, once you've made a project, what should you do? First off, know your tech stack well off. Okay, don't just randomly Google stuff and make projects, and then when the interview asks you basic stuff, you should be able to answer it. Now, obviously, when a person makes a project, you don't expect them to have made something amazing and have some amazing knowledge in just their first project. But for example, let's say if you've made a project in JavaScript, you should know how to at least console.log, right? That's something basic that can be expected from you if you're making a JavaScript project. I have seen people getting caught with not knowing that in interviews as well. So at least have some basic knowledge of the tech stack you're working in and know your project inside out. Like why did you implement stuff? Why did you use your tech stack? How did you implement different things? It might be possible that it's a group project, but it's your responsibility to ensure you know how the entire project is working, not just your part, although you can specifically talk about your part, right? Uh, and one other thing is a lot of people usually ignore this, but if you have a course project that you think is relevant and is good, you can add that as well. Because to be honest, we work during course projects and it usually just goes to waste. I've seen a lot of resumes from other IITs where they actually put in a bunch of course projects. So why not? I would say, sure, do it. Go ahead. Right. So course projects as well. And do you have any other points to add for the experience and project section, Pranshu? I think that's all from my side. Yeah, sure. Do add links to your projects, and the links should have GitHubs that actually have a good README and explain what stuff you've done.
Yeah, I would also recommend to participate in hackathons. Like there are Aadhaar hackathons and there are Kaggle competitions. So do participate in some of them and make like try to participate in teams. So it shows that you know how to work in team, and the hackathons and Kaggle projects add credibility to your work. And if you get some medal or like win something, then it's great. For the resume, I would just emphasize that it is important that you highlight some important stuff. As you can see in the here, he has highlighted the results, the tech stack. Uh, uh, if he has done something new or used something new, he has highlighted that. So make sure that you are like highlighting important stuff, because the short while shortlisting there will be many resumes, and the interviewer may not have time to like read each and every line, so he may go through the bold part. So it should cover cover the main things that you have achieved.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. There's just one extra caveat that we wanted to add, which is always start your lines with some good words. Like these are sort of a set of verbs that you could use. Try to stick to them and don't use anything else. And don't start with conjunctions and stuff like that, right? Start with these verbs usually. So you see that all my uh, points are mostly verbs, they are beginning with verbs, except if they're explanations, right? Try to follow that template as well, right? Moving on to the achievement section. So for this section, this is a very tricky section actually. So first, there's a couple of points in this section. First off, I would say don't go beyond your 10 standard, except if you have, let's say, RMO or something like that. Don't go beyond 10 standard, and don't add SOF Olympiads. All that doesn't matter, in my opinion. Otherwise, it's up to you. Next thing is usually what kind of stuff to count as achievements, right? So first off, you have school Olympiads. So NTSC, RMO, KVPY, etc., etc. Then you have your competition wins. Let's say you got selected somewhere. Let's say like Amazon Summer School. So all that, like I have a competition win in an inter IIT, and then I have a selection. Then you can have your CP handles and CP achievements. So those, and then you can have your JE. Of course, every single one of us has this KVPY, NTSC, right? So you have all this. One thing you'll see is that all my achievements, I tried my best to put them in the format of X out of Y. What that means is I achieved a team rank of 363 out of 3,500. So any random person looking at an achievement, they have no idea how important or how good that achievement is, because they're not college students anymore. Somebody can be 10 years old into the industry, and they don't know, let's say, what code chef is. So you need to explain to them that, okay, I gave this contest and I got this rank out of these many people. Although you might not think that it's a very, very big achievement, at least this way you give a context to them so they understand. Like, for example, we won a bronze medal out of all the 22 IITs. So this sort of gives them context, right? So always try to write your achievements in this format, including KVPY, NTSC, all these, right? And if you, let's say, have a strong competitive programming section or a very strong ML section, you can make separate sections for those. We've had people who actually do that and try to emphasize what they really are about. So that sort of brings me to my original point, right? So talk about what you personally are best at the most in your resume. So if you actually have a very strong competitive programming profile, put that maybe above your projects and make a separate heading for it, right? So that people can actually just take a look at it. Right. Okay. Moving on to the next section, technical skills. Right. So simple. Just put all the tech stacks you've worked in for on-campus stuff. Any project that you have, all the tech stacks from this should be here, and anything else you might be aware of, it can be added. Now, how do you decide if something is an elementary proficiency? Very simple. If you need to Google stuff to manage to do some stuff on that, then you have elementary proficiency. So although I can write basic Java code, if you give me a problem, maybe I'll have to Google some random functions, etc., etc. That's why it's elementary proficiency. But in general, I know stuff in Python and C++, so I don't consider those as elementary proficiency, right? So just follow that template to decide whether something is elementary proficiency, and you can move ahead with that. Right. So usually I see people do a lot of different styles for technical skills. So choose whatever sort of headings you can think you want to use. And one other thing is, for off-campus opportunities, usually people go and look at what kind of role that company is willing to hire. So this is sort of a hack. So if they're hiring for, let's say, XYZ role and they use certain tech stack, you can just read that tech stack up and add it to your technical skills. So at least you just don't get rejected from your resume. Right. Okay. Now that is up. Right. Moving on to your coursework. So I was a CS student. So pretty simple. If you're applying for a tech role, they mostly really care about your coursework in computer science and maths. So I just added all the important courses that I thought were part of my computer science and math courses that I was comfortable with. Now this is very important. if you're not comfortable with a certain course, let's say like real analysis or something, do not add it, because if the interview starts to question you on those courses, you will actually start to falter, and that repartee you have in your interview, that sort of goes, right? Don't try to invite them to push you into corners you don't want to get into, right? So just talk about your let's say if the role is, I'm a quant, right? So for me, it was very important that I had probability and random processes. So according to your role also, obviously you need to have your courses there, but ensure that your basic courses are covered. If you have a minor as well, you can add courses from that. And if you're applying for core roles, relevant courses, basically. That's the whole point. So now okay, so I'll be talking about PRs, extracurriculars at together. So basically those two are the sections where you show your leadership and show how you're not just about uh, let's say coding, etc., right? So about those sections, they're not as important as your other sections, one. And don't assume that just because you have some great PR that you're just going to directly get an internship. That is not true. It might have some weight, but not as much as you might think. So if you have a PR, make that section above the extracurricular section, obviously, because a PR is much more valuable. Obviously, you can't just write anything as a PR in your on-campus internship, because I'm pretty sure that placement cell has a set of acceptable PRs. So always go through those and only have the PRs that are acceptable. Uh, just write a simple point talking about what you did during that PR. And if you actually want to bring this up, you can actually bring this up in your intro. So if that person is interested, they can actually ask you about it. For example, Ashley did talk about CSEA in my interview at Alpha Grep, and the interviewer was actually an ex ITG student. So he actually remembered CSEA and he spoke to me about it. So it's just something that adds to your profile and does not make your profile. So always remember, try to show your leadership and teamwork capabilities through these sections, right? So, and for if you're doing an off-campus internship, just add anything relevant that you want as a PR. One thing is, if you're just adding another page for your extracurriculars, don't actually do it. Try your best to put it into one page so that it looks actually concise. I could have very well put this in 2 pages, but it would just look not as good and end up looking very cluttered and a lot of white space, right? This looks much more concise and easy to read, right? So those are some of the ideas I had for these sections. Pranchu, anything to add for these sections?
Yeah, just one thing. The extracurricular part is kind of optional. So, like as you can see in Siddharth, he does not have any space for the extracurriculars, so he has dropped it. So you can very well drop it. But if there are white spaces left in your resume, which can happen, like after just in the first year and second year, you may not have sufficient amount of stuff. So in that case, you can add some extracurriculars, like you work in some science fair or get some prize there, or visited something related to science or something, or your hobby. You can, like if you are a national level chess player, you can add something like that in your extracurriculars. Apart from
Yeah.
that, I guess it's well covered.
Yeah, a lot of people actually add their cultural achievements in extracurriculars, right? Like a lot of people sing or play some sports, etc., right? So sports and cultural stuff usually goes into extracurriculars. So if you're strong in that, do emphasize it and show that you actually bring a lot more than just your technical skills, right? And then there's a bunch of some final tips for your on-campus resume. Is that first thing is consistency, as I spoke about it before. Like even the smallest of things like dates, be consistent in how you're writing them, be consistent in the spacing, inter like all the different spacings should be consistent. You can't just change font size randomly somewhere. And never lie on your resume. Imagine someone who's worked in an industry for 10 years and he's working on a tech stack and you just outright wrote lies. He can catch you in like 2 minutes. So don't try to, like, you might get through somewhere, but most places you'll get caught. So don't try to do this, right? So always be honest, but obviously show off, right? That's the key. And of course, these are basic stuff. Be well versed, know what you've written, highlight everything important. And one last point is you should always contact your seniors for resume reviews. Don't pester them. They're probably getting a lot to review, especially during intern season. But this is something very important. You can make a lot of mistakes, but your seniors have gone through something similar. So contact them, and always try to contact someone you know well, because they'll obviously prioritize your resume and give you much better feedback. If you contact someone everyone's contacting, they might not give you as good feedback as possible, right? So that, I think that is the main part about on-campus stuff. And over to Pranshu. Actually, Pranshu had an on-campus internship, which was actually really good at Sprinkler, but he actually wanted to try a different rollout, and he applied off campus, and he's one of the only people that I know of who got an off campus intern. So that's really great. And he actually got a very, very good intern at 10K Securities. So he'll actually go on and speak about why he applied off campus and stuff like that, and how he did it. Right. So over to you, Pranshu.
Yeah, so I think like some people will want to join for off campus. So we will wait for 2 minutes and let your friends know from third year or anything if they want to join for off campus part alone. We'll start from 7:45 for the off campus part. So yeah, just ping your friends. Especially
Meanwhile, maybe if you have a question or something, you can put in the chat. We
yeah,
can take
for
it
the
up.
on-campus part, if you have questions, we can take questions for a couple of minutes. Is chat box open for the people? Like, just there hasn't been any chat. Can someone type in yes if they can? Okay, yeah. So yeah, please, if anyone has some doubt, what skills did you have when you took internships through Intern Fair?
Okay, great
So
question.
that's it.
Yeah, so I would say, except some basic coding skills, like basic competitive programming, I had just started Flutter and nothing else. Okay. My only tip, if you're applying through Intern Fair, is be extremely confident. They understand that you're probably just starting off in your journey as a programmer. So first, stay confident. Explain to them that I've started with this. I'm learning this. I've worked on this project. It might not be a very hard project. Showcase to them what you have honestly. Explain to them that you're very keen to learn, because they're looking for those people who are very keen to learn and actually just put in some hard work and get things done. So it's okay if you're not a very big expert or something. You just need to show motivation and some basic skill. That is pretty much all that is required for an intern fair internship, right? I know someone who actually got a very well paying intern at intern fair, and they also did not have any extreme proficiency in any skill, etc. They were that person was also just doing basic app development, and he was just extremely more confident, and was able to convince them that he can get the job done. So I would say, just be confident and be in your skill, and have motivation to actually just work hard and convince them that you can do that. That is sort of the idea for intern fair.
Okay. Yeah, you for adding the branch engine achievement section. Yeah, you can add that.
You can do that,
Like I have
yes.
seen people adding that. Like
You
you
can
can
also
give
put
some
your
context
branch
that
rank also.
yeah, out of this many people, I got yeah. Actually, you can add your branch rank and got a branch change from this like to this branch as such. Uh, how do I find research interns? Like whom should I approach if I want to do a research
Okay,
intern?
we can take that question at the end of this talk, I think.
Yeah.
Sort of is a divergent question from the main points.
Bhaiya, can you please share the slides after the session? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
sure. We will share the slide. I have started coding very recently. Am I too late? So like in which year you are? So I think it is, yeah, Aditya, you can maybe add to that. Okay, yeah, so it's not late at all. Like for the first year, right? So you can like this is the first winter vacation. You can start knowing what is like what is coding, and you can pick up language. Generally, people take C++, so you can start to learn about C++, how it works. CSE recently conducted CP 101, so you can go through that, the slides or recording, and you can start. So it's not at all late. Just start.
Like I personally know people who started in their second year and they
Yeah.
actually overtook a lot of other people by the time intern season came. So it's never really too late to start. What's more important is being consistent in whatever you're doing. Like it's not like you need to do this skill only or this tech stack only. Pick whatever you find interesting and actually be very good at it. That is more important, right?
If one wants to go non-tech fields, will including technical skills on resume. So the ESAL is conducting a separate session for non-technical fields. So maybe they can better answer this question. Like we
Right.
are not aware for non-technical part.
Mhm. I think we can get
Our
started with
acad
off campus.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so we'll start with off campus. We can answer the questions at the end of the session. So first of all, why to apply for off campus? So like in IIT Guwahati, there are not much opportunities for foreign companies like in USA, Netherlands, Hong Kong. So these kind of opportunities are not there, or if they are very few. So if you look at the off-campus opportunities, you may see a bunch of companies which do hire Indians for uh, like for software development jobs, and for internships also. So yeah, so if you want to explore the work culture of abroad, and like you want to travel different places, get more global exposure. So if that is your motivation, so like off campus is the way. If you there are not many HFTs which come to our campus. There are like couple of HFTs which visits us, but actually there are like quite a few in India. Around 6 7 HFTs are there. So HFTs are like trading companies which like they pay their pay scale is very high as compared to software companies, and uh, people find the work very challenging and exciting. So it can be a great experience. So I personally apply for an HFT, NK Securities, for off-campus internship. Uh, Also, if you are if you are having a internship and like you want to apply for a better opportunity, so or you have not, like, because currently the recession is going on. I have heard many of the third yearites have not gotten on-campus internship. So in that case also, there are great chances that you can get off-campus if you apply to multiple companies. So yeah, I guess that's enough motivation. Let's move on. Yeah, so for off-campus, you need not to stick with the IITG template. This is the general template which people use for off-campus. This is a single column format, and like next slide, we will have uh, Kincha, next slide. Yeah, so here you can see the multi-column format. So you can stick with the RTG template also if you do not want to make different resumes. I personally apply with the same resume only, but if you want to include more stuff, or you want some more space in a single page, then you can go for the double column resumes. Uh, that way you can add more stuff in different like other IITs. People do use the that Alta CV. This is the very common in Bombay and Madras. They do use, so you can use this templates as well for off campus. Yeah. So next slide. Yeah, so one of the most important question is how you can find the off-campus opportunities, right? Because for the on-campus, companies directly come to placement cell, and you get to know about them. But like in the second year, third year, I know that we are not even aware of what are the companies, what are the different industries you can try. So in that case, it is best to make a fully updated LinkedIn profile. So you can see mine or Siddharth's LinkedIn profile. Like we try to keep it up to date. We have our experiences, what like how much time we have spent in different companies, and like what we have done there. So you can try to keep a good up to date LinkedIn profile, and go through check out LinkedIn. So recently I have seen there are many posts related to internships uh, of different companies. So LinkedIn is a very great platform if you want to find opportunities. Also, if you so by the time you already know that the big companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, so and you can like we will attach a list of companies you can apply, like in a sheet after the talk. So you can go through their career website and just put your resume there and apply through the career portal. So I personally apply to NK Securities through the career portal only. And also, like it is always best to like keep a WhatsApp group of friends who are interested in applying off campus. So like you may not be able to get keep track of each and every opportunity, but if there are a bunch of friends, so like you can post the opportunities in the group, and that's how you can get to know if you have missed some opportunities. You can share that with your friends and prepare with them. So like do not play snake games, and like try to help each other. So that's how you grow a lot. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah, for the LinkedIn, what you can do is like this is the example. You can like you can search for the opportunities, like you can set jobs, you can make it internships, and you can also select the industries by clicking on the all filters on the right side. You can choose industry as a software engineering, or as a quant, or any role that you want, and then you can get you can see a bunch of opportunities. Also you can next slide. Yeah, also you can ask for referrals through to our alumni, to our seniors which are working there. So you what you can do is you can just like you can write a message like this and send them your resume. Many like it can happen that they do not see your message at all, but like if you try to sufficient people, like it will happen that some of them will reply to you, and uh, like you will get a referral from them if you have a if you have done some good work and you have good resume. Yeah, one thing is that so it is obviously easier to get referrals from the senior who already know you. So if you have worked in some club, or if you are part of some fest, or like you have interacted with some senior, then you can ask them to give you the referral by like just showing them the resume. He will be more than happy to give you the referral. But even if you have not actively interacted with the yeah, we will definitely provide the slides. So even if you have not interacted with the senior, but uh, generally if they are from IITG, they will help you out. So just do not be shy, and like actively ping peoples. That way you will increase your chances of getting good referrals. Yeah, so next slide. Yeah, and also you can similarly you can ping the HRs also. So like we have done internships, so like we have discussed with HR, and they are more than happy to like help a good candidate to get in the company, because like they also get a bonus if the referred person is being hired. So like if you have a good profile, then be confident about yourself and do not hesitate to contact the HRs of the company. So for that, what you can do is you can just there is an option in LinkedIn to send a connection request with attaching a note. So if you so always like connect, like make your own message like this, and you can just edit it bit like according to the person and the company, but create a template for you to message the person, and if they are looking for people, they will generally reply. If you are really want to increase your chance, you may buy LinkedIn Premium, but I'll not recommend it to first and second year rights. Third year rights can try. There is 1 month free trial there, so like you can take 1 month free trial and use emails to like directly message some companies HR if you are really passionate about it. But for first year and second year, there is no need. You can just directly use the connect feature. Yeah. Okay. So like these are the ways you can apply for the company. Once you have applied, like you have filled the form, you need to wait because so if I talk about myself, I applied in around August, and then I got the link for the coding round in January, and like I gave the coding round. Then like around March, I got the mail for scheduling the interviews, and my like there was 2 interview rounds, so the entire process was completed by April. So like an internship starts in from May, so it can happen that like it can take time, but you need to be patient and utilize the time to revise the concepts that you need for the company of your choice. So and always like try to discuss with the senior who have already worked in the company, like interned or who are currently working in the company. For the most of the company, you will find people of IIT Guwahati working there. So you can just ping them on LinkedIn, or you can get contacts through some mutual senior, and like ping them and ask them how you can prepare for that. And actually, you can mail the interviewer also. So once you get the mail for the interview, you can like mail the interviewer like how you can prepare for the interview. They generally do tell you the concepts that they will be like they will be looking for. So yeah, that's it. uh,
All right, then we'll move on to the questions then. Give me a second. Right.
is an intern after second semester necessary? Not at all. Like it is not necessary, but if you are doing it, then obviously that experience will be helpful. But like I would say, if you are doing an internship, uh, do not aim for money. Just see if you are getting good knowledge, and like it is significant value addition to your resume. Just do not do some data filling or labor work. Yeah, you are annotating. Even if you are getting some money, you can better utilize the time like learning coding, learning languages, doing some good project, taking part in some great hackathon. So do not engage in doing labor work for some money. Try to do quality work which can which can serve you in long run. Uh, do our minors affect our job profiles? So generally, like for the non-CS students, they generally took CS or math and like electrical minors. So in that case, for on-campus internships, uh, the options opens up. Like many company allow the people having minors in the circuital branch. So that way the options open up. But apart from that, there are not any other benefits of minor. You will get some more companies in the on-campus internship. Okay, anything else?
Until some other questions come up, I remember the research intern question that had come up earlier. So I'll just take that quickly. So there's like, I'll say 3 major ways to get into a research intern. Like that was not really within the scope of this talk, so we didn't really cover it. But sure, I'll just go through it very quickly. So the first very simple way is through official programs. So there are a lot of programs like MyTax, darts. I think darts came up recently. I saw an email. So usually sometimes these programs do come on email, but you should actually look up these programs. You'll find GitHubs where these programs are explicitly mentioned, right? So you apply through these programs. 2 is that you have a person, you know, a person who's working in a research group, and you just ask them for a referral, so they directly refer you to that group. Or 3 is that you cold email a lot of people, and they with the cold emails, someone some of the profs will randomly reply one day ki yeah, sure, I have a vacancy now. So these are sort of the 3 major ways. I would personally recommend finding a contact if possible, or cold emailing. Of course, you need to apply to all sorts of programs, but the chances of getting through a program are sort of low because the entry barrier is sort of high. So that is the whole point. We usually have a research intern talk separately, like from CSA, so we could cover it in that really. AB, you need to give more context on which intern you're talking about. Like intern after second year, intern after third year, intern during your first year. What kind of intern?
Also for the second year, right? Like the details on how you should prepare for the internship, like what are the roles. So you will get talks around that later on in this semester. So this was the basic talk for you to get started with building your resume. Start building your resume. Start like if you do not have some good project, so you now have directions what kind of projects you need in your resume. So start doing projects. We will have talks in future for like what should be the preparation for different kind of companies and roles.
I think we'll be wrapping up the Q&A in maybe 2 more minutes, and then we can just have the conclusion.
Kija, you can tell about your first year internship experience.
Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so my internship was at a startup. Like they were really, really early, and they basically had sort of an idea, and they just told me what to do. So if you're doing an internship at an intern fair company, it's highly unlikely you'll get very good mentors. So, but what it will teach you is sort of figuring stuff out on your own. So they sort of had an idea for an app that they wanted to build, and they'd sort of be very chill about it. We'd have like weekly meetings where they'd just discuss what kind of progress I was able to make, since it was like it was unpaid. So obviously they had no sort of hold on me. obviously I was a first year, right? So in my head, it was like, oh my god, this is an internship. But ideally, they don't really have a hold on you, and you can just work on it. How many hours you are able to contribute? It's much more helpful if you're able to contribute something good, because then you actually end up with a very good project. Uh, matlab, the company list, I'm not sure how relevant that is, because I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of roles, and there's a lot of different
I guess.
startups coming up right now.
Yeah, he is asking for applying to off campus. So for off campus, we will share some famous companies like uh,
Sure,
if you want to apply.
sure. Okay.
For quant role, generally you will require good logical skills, probability, puzzles, and they may sometime ask concepts around game theory and all. But generally, like brush up probability and practice puzzles.
One thing is, across all roles, basic DSA is expected. So don't think that I am doing a quant role, so they don't expect DSA, or if I'm doing any ML role, they don't expect DSA. So that is a very common theme. That is, DSA can be asked in any interview at any point, because at the end of the day, you're going to write code, and it's not a very high expectation of them to have that that you can't write basic code, right? So always work on your DSA, but you might have other preferences for your role. You can work on that as well, but always make sure your DSA is up to par. I know a lot of talented people in ML who during interns were really struggling, because no company was allowing them to give an interview, because a lot of them had coding tests which had DSA. But those same people realized that and worked on it very well, and during placements they got placed spectacularly. So if you have a very good ML profile, or if you want to build one, go ahead, sure. But just make sure that you're not lagging behind in DSA, because that will come to bite you in the ass later on.
Yes. So for first year, it is first year rights, and even for second year rights, it is very essential that you are good at CP. Like if you are not participating in contest, so try to be consistent with code forces and at coder. Give regular contest and like try to upskill you, try to upsolve the problems and uh, like for the first year rights, I would say target to reach 1400 level, and for second year rights, I will say try to get 1600 level. That will be very good. But again, rating is not the goal. You should focus on learning, but as a part of motivation, like set some goals for you that you want to achieve this kind of rating. And for off campus especially, the rating does help if you are, especially if you are wanting some roles in HFTs and all. So like many HFTs do give weights for CP ratings. So yeah, and also companies like Google also gives very much weight to your DSA skills. Actually, their whole interview process is around DSA. So yeah, uh, make sure that you are practicing DSA along with doing projects and all. So I think uh, there are not much questions.
Yeah, but I think all questions are covered.
Yeah. So like Isel can take up from here.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Siddharth and Pranshuvia, for sharing such amazing insights and these knowledge and experience. I'm sure it would help each and every one of us in our career. Now, like we are presenting a great opportunity for first and second year rights, so they can stay in the meeting.
So, hello everyone. As Siddharth told you, we have a great opportunity for the first and second year rides. So, here I present to you Intern Fair. Intern Fair is a great opportunity for the freshers and sophomores to gain very valuable experience by working in a startup. We connect the HRs of various startups with first and second year rides. You may then apply for various roles and submit your CV. Then, based on the shortlisting, we will arrange the interviews. The companies or the startups visiting us have various roles. The companies or the startups that visit us offers various roles in tech and non-tech domains. Speaking of the last year intern fair, we have over 800 applications and more than 70 startups participated in it. And yes, it is the largest student-led organization which conduct this internship drive in the Northeast. So, why to apply for internship at such an early stage? So, it's not about money. Uh, by working as an intern, you gain experience. At this stage, you should not value money. You should value experience. By working as an intern, you gain experience which will help you in your future intern and placement season. Internship at such an early level will definitely boost your confidence and provide you an upper hand over your colleagues. As even Bhaiya told you that in an interview, experience gives you an edge over projects. So starting early definitely helps you, and uh, you come to know about the networks and the by working you come to know about how the system works. You grow your networks and you optimize your management skills. It even enhance your skills, and if you work well, you can even earn a stipend. This will be a part on your resume in the intern season. So by applying for internship at a startup, you have a high chance of securing internship. Yeah, next slide, please. So in applying for intern at a startup, you have a high chance of securing the internship. As applying in a bigger company, they might not even respond. Uh, and yes, we will be starting the student registration for intern fair very soon. Thank you.